Part 16. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 151. Chapter 151 Ninjas must be patient. 67 songs plus more. It was past noon, and a ray of light flashed in a hidden place outside the Water Shadow building, and the 4 members of Team Wu disappeared without a trace. Tisk, it's so convenient, people, can't help being envious. Heitake Sakumo, who had just approached quietly, hadn't rested for a long time, grinned, and then quietly retreated slowly. He hadn't figured out what kind of information the Wu team got, but he was choked by their way of acting without a trace. As long as they are like this, how can I protect them? It's true, they took me and ran away. In the living room on the 2nd floor of the Blue Hermit restaurant, the Wu team appeared. I got a lot of valuable information today. With a sigh of relief, teleportation with 3 people is still a little difficult for the current Wu. An eye-opener, it turns out that the ninjas of Kirigakura like to wear bandages. Shenshu widened his eyes, as if he had discovered a new world. The so-called 7 ninja swordsmen, everyone is wrapped in bandages. Enlightenment clutched his forehead. Many times he also wondered if Naoki was the one who was poisoned by arcane power instead of him. Nanoyo chuckled, and Minato also grinned. Senior Naraki, I'm more concerned about Jinchuriki. Captain, can Jinchuriki really turn a tail beast that moves like a natural disaster into a weapon that can be controlled? That Jinchuriki? A trace of doubt flashed in Minato's eyes. Renzhuli, don't you really need to pay the price? How can there be no price? Wu sneered. First of all, Renzhuli must be absolutely loyal to the village, so most of the Renzhuli in each village are held by Ying's relatives. If there is no suitable one, it can be cultivated from an early age, but the physique suitable for the tailed beast is the key. If you forcibly become a Jinzoli, you will probably die suddenly because you can't bear the powerful power of the tailed beast. Those who can really use the power of the tailed beast perfectly. Wu thought about it carefully, then shook his head. I don't think there is one at the moment. That kind of existence is called perfect Renchuriki. It is the Jinchuriki that completely conquers the tailed beast. It can transform into a huge tailed beast and launch the tailed beast Jade, which is infinitely powerful. Tail beast Jade. The 3 of them heard another new term, and the 3 pairs of eyes full of curiosity stared at Wu, so that he had no choice but to raise his hands in surrender. Okay, the tailed beast Jade is the strongest attack secret of the tailed beast. Only the tailed beast itself and the tailed beast's Renzhuli can be used, and the ninjutsu level is S. The specific principle of casting is not clear, but it includes the extreme change of chakra's form and the nature of yin-yang done. Without the assistance of the tailed beast, it is basically impossible to learn. One more thing, if the tail beast in Renzuli's body is taken away, then Renzuli will definitely die. The strength of the body is just a quicker and slower death. Satoru gave Minato a meaningful look, but Minato was lost in his description of tailed beast Jade. After popularizing some anecdote-level knowledge, Wu clapped his hands, waking up the people who were still full of ideas. That's the end of today's external investigation. Let's prepare to receive today's guests. We only know a little bit more detailed information, and we need to continue the investigation for a long time. Yes. Business at night was still booming. Team Wu made money and collected intelligence without delay, and lived a very comfortable life. Finally, after the store closed on the 3rd day, Sakumo Heitake, who had endured for 3 days with a haggard face, approached them. Yeah, Captain Chuomao, are you here too? Sakumo Heitake felt sad seeing Team Satoru pretending to be. Well, these guys must have found themselves a long time ago. Is this how they treat the squad leader and senior who came to protect them? Cough, anyway, let's eat first. Satoru has already deeply understood that Kakashi's funny personality is up to anyone. He was also to blame for being misled by Heitake Sakumo's reputation. How serious can you expect a guy who can develop the esoteric art of Millennium Kill? After eating and drinking, Heitake Sakumo sighed contentedly. I have never realized that the food is so miserable after performing missions for more than 20 years. So you know why I'm here. How's the mission going? Well, the general situation is like this. Satoru and the others held back their laughter and told Heitake Sakumo the news they had recently discovered. 7 ninja swordsmen, 7 inherited ninja swords, and the suspected 6 tails Jinchuriki plan, well done. Heitake Sakumo scratched his head and had to admit that this was much more efficient than aimlessly searching for information in Yuyan village. Those who came to the Blue Hermit to dine at night even included the great elder Yuanji. But, Wu, your method is indeed very efficient, but I have to regret to tell you that Umbu of Wuyan village has already noticed this. Heitake Sakumo's words surprised Go and the others. No way. Was it exposed so soon? It's not to the point of being exposed, but you guys are doing too, well, the business is so good that the surrounding stores have to jointly sue you for unfair competition. Wu slapped his face, this is really. So, Kirigakure Enby is actually suspicious of us because our business is so good? Wu helplessly spread his hands. Our identities don't stand up to scrutiny, and we haven't been here for long, so they can easily find out. That's right, but I thought it would take at least a month to find out, but now it's only less than a week. Heitake Sakumo nodded. According to my judgment, Umbu should take action by tomorrow afternoon at the latest, and should leave as soon as possible. But Captain Chuomao, there is one more thing that hasn't been clarified, which makes us very concerned. Oh. Wu glanced at Minato, who nodded and said. Captain Chuomao, it's like this. During today's separate investigation, I was near the woods, and for a moment, perceived emptiness. Originally, I sensed that there were several chakras that were almost identical near that location, but when I tried to get closer, those chakra reactions suddenly disappeared. Afterwards, I informed Captain Awakening that we worked together to search the area several times, but found nothing. Almost exactly the same, multiple shadow clones. Heitake Sakumo frowned, what is your judgment? I don't think it should be that simple. The disappearance of the chakra reaction is likely to be a response to the other party's awareness of Minato's existence. Shengshu shook his head. As a perception ninja, his judgment should be reasonable. But when we finished the search and left, I sensed that there were ninjas coming to investigate again. So, it shouldn't be an illusion of Minato, and it's obviously related to Kirigakure. We want to investigate one last time. Maybe the things hidden behind this are more valuable than the previous two. Satoru expressed his judgment. Although the details of the original timeline are not very clear, Satoru knows that between World War II and World War III, when Kirigakure did not participate, there must have been some changes in Kirigakure. Otherwise, why would the super Loki third-generation Mizukage create a blood mist without thinking? Okay, but be quick if things don't work out, retreat immediately. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 152. Chapter 152 Caught by the Trap of Knowledge. 77 First Orders plus updates. However, the final investigation still failed to proceed smoothly. The place where Mizuman found something wrong before has been closely guarded by Kirigakure Enby. Although Satoru always felt something was wrong, but time was running out, and they had already discovered that Kirigakure Enby was marching towards the Blue Hermit. I can only retreat first. I have found 2 pieces of news this time, and I have basically figured out what Kirigakure is doing these days. Heitake Sakumo wasn't disappointed either. If the investigation continued, it would be too dangerous. In this sensitive period when the war had just ended, if there was a conflict with Wuyan village, it would be troublesome. Okay, but I think that just training the 7 ninja swordsmen is not enough to keep them silent for so long. The war has been fought for several years. Although Wu felt a little regretful that his desire for exploration had not been satisfied, it was indeed not a good time to continue the investigation. Then get ready to go. With my current ability, let's go straight back to the village. The teleportation light flashed, Wu and the others disappeared in place. The information brought back by Satoru and the others was very important, and Hiruza Sarutobi of the 3rd Hokage immediately ordered to strengthen the defense of the eastern coast in a targeted manner based on the information of the 7 ninja swordsmen in the intelligence. Afterwards, Satoru and the others got a long reward vacation. And Hatake Sakumo can finally go home to look after the children. 2 months passed in a flash, during which time Wu was very busy. He didn't even have time to help Minato learn the Flying Thunder God art, but Minato could already see some hope of success according to his own ideas, combined with Satoru's experience. A month ago, the eastern coast of the Nation of Fire was indeed harassed by the Nation of Water's resurgence, and the first to bear the brunt was the 7 ninja swordsmen. However, the 7 ninja swordsmen who appeared for the first time did not meet the expected record of Wuian village. They were made a little ashamed by Konoha's targeted defense. Although their strength was indeed good, they didn't cause too much damage. Satoru's energy is mainly concentrated on studying magic with Dashimaru. The current Satoru team, because they are on vacation and have no Umbu missions, can live quietly in the village with their original identities. Occasionally meeting with friends, and then reinvesting in research under the urging of Orochimaru, it is really a life that Wu enjoys very much. Since Orochimaru understood the true function of enchantment, he has carried out various experiments as if possessed by a demon. Of course he wouldn't experiment on himself first, not counting the enlightenment. The strengthening data on Naoshu is only one time, and the reference value is limited. His first thought was to strengthen Konoha's ninja combat uniform to the point where it could provide sufficient defense. But just as the research started to pick up, Orochimaru was stimulated by what Satoru seemed to say inadvertently. Tisk, armor or something is just the first step. The real power of magic is building structures. Construct. What's that? Orochimaru is not a fool. Through continuous research on magic, he has long been able to confirm that what the advisor Mightyman Yan said to fool him before is all nonsense. God damn the ancient relic steel, this enchantment was clearly developed by Wu himself. It's just that he is so stupid that no one would believe him, so he colluded with his father to make such a move, and tricked him into it. However, Orochimaru appreciates Satoru's approach very much. He thought that if it was him, he would definitely find a backer to cover himself. But now, the reason why Wu doesn't care about this matter is just like Yuan told Wu back then. Enlightenment, who has become Jonin and can form his own line, doesn't need to care about these things at all. As long as he is strong enough, no matter how many things he develops, it is reasonable. And he who has mastered the technique of Flying Thunder God can go to the whole ninja world. So Orochimaru did not tell others about this matter at all, and maintaining such a tacit understanding is beneficial to both parties. The structure is what I imagined, a large-scale automatic combat unit, more powerful than the puppets that the Sand Hermits are used to. Wuxiang Orochimaru described the design idea of the arcane structure. Moreover, there is no need for the complicated manipulation methods of the puppet master school. The arcane structure can refer to the principle of the shadow clone, which is almost equivalent to putting on a powerful enchanted armor for the shadow clone. Wu's description made Orochimaru's breathing heavy. With simple wisdom, the structure can fight independently, and the charging core made by magic can achieve a lasting supply of chakra. Orochimaru understands what this means. This is a powerful ninja weapon far surpassing the puppet dolls of the puppet masters. In the Second Ninja World War that just ended, the powerful puppet art of Hidden Sand Village consultant Joe made the entire ninja world re-examine the profession of puppeteer in Hidden Sand Village. And the structure is a new creation that can smash the jobs of the puppet masters to pieces. I already have some clues about the power core of the structure, but the mechanical part and the reinforced armor, I have to ask you, teacher. Satoru finally showed his foxtail and was researching the armor-enhancing Orochimaru. Of course, he would not let go of such a powerful subject. Sure enough, even though he felt that he might have been tricked, Orochimaru still pinched his nose and took over the work of developing the mechanical part and strengthening the armor. Because, according to Satoru, the arcane runes that strengthen armor belong to the category of master-level enchantment. And Orochimaru still holds the intermediate magic enchantment that Wu just gave him. There is still an advanced magic in the middle. Wu, you really deserve to be my direct disciple, and your style of acting is quite like mine. Orochimaru stretched out his tongue and licked his lips, then gave Wu an annoyed look. This feeling of being led by the nose by a disciple is very bad. Well, joint research and joint progress, I just deduced the existence of advanced and master-level magic, that's it? Wu's absent-minded answer made Orochimaru's teeth itch, but he immediately relaxed his mind. Anyway, I just need to achieve my goal. I also want to thank you for contributing this precious knowledge, Wu. The laboratory where Orochimaru and Satoru are now are specially approved by the third generation of Hokage, and the conditions are much better than the original one. After the war, that guy Jiraiya will definitely put the practice of immortal arts first. Tsunade has also learned the Yin Seal and is developing new medical ninjutsu. If I don't make some progress, I will be punished by them. Dropped it? Enlightenment scratched his head, speaking, it seemed that he hadn't visited the cheap apprentice for a while. After you've been busy for a while, let's go and have a look. And this busy work lasted for nearly a year. It can only be said that the good days in peacetime passed too quickly. Various studies, boost tasks, and most importantly, deciphering the Book of Medivh made Satoru completely ignore the passage of time. Moreover, Jiraiya's irresponsible guy is not here, and Satoru will also assist Minato in researching and improving the flying Raijin technique. However, on this day, the high-level Konoha shook. Uzumaki Kushina is missing, and Hokage directly under Envy is dispatched to search with all their might. P.S. Well, how should I put it, the first order of 787 is quite symmetrical. I hope it is really lower than expected due to the start of school. In the future, 3 updates will be made for a month, and it will take a wave of saving manuscripts to see if it is restored for 2 updates. In addition, the update time is generally 12 o'clock noon, 12:01 to be exact, 1 chapter per minute, easy to remember, as mentioned in the testimonial on the shelf. If you want to observe whether I am interrupted, it must be the next day. Several book reviews said that I was a eunuch on the day it was put on the shelf. I don't like to delete comments, but these few comments may be very hurt to new readers who may click in. The top post has been replied in unison, thank you for your support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 153. Chapter 153 Light Bulb, Dog Food, Ren's Huli. The moon is dark and the wind is high, no, the moon is thin and the stars are thin. The romantic and beautiful scene, it seems that my light bulb arrived at a bad time. Minato, you kid can't tell that you're quite coquettish, and you're still being hugged by a princess. A handsome man and a beautiful woman are quite admirable. Huh. Why are you blushing? Minato Toshi Namikaze, who was being snarled by Gaku crazily, blushed, but subconsciously, he didn't loosen his hands at all. Kushina, who was held in his arms, had a face so hot that she could fry an egg, so she subconsciously burrowed into Minato's arms. The 2 children were completely overwhelmed by Wu's appearance. While the Umbu were still looking around like headless flies, Namikaze Minato had already found the clues left by Kushina, those scattered red hair. Although Wu knew what was going on, he still had to put on a show in the area he was in charge of. That, Senior Brother Wu, you are here. After Satoru called Jiraiya teacher, plus Satoru's teaching of Minato's Flying Thunder God technique, Minato called Satoru Senior Brother outside of Umbu's identity. So, I said why you didn't see anyone when you assembled, and said there was no danger. Come and take a look, but you were strangled by the neck and poured dog food into your mouth, what a crime. Enlightenment stamped his feet in grief. Look. You are still hugging each other. Ah! Two exclamations sounded, and Minato and Kushina just woke up like a dream, and the two hurriedly stood apart. Kushina tugged at Minato's sleeve, and Minato scratched her hair foolishly. He, Senior Brother Wu, we're going back to the village, it's not like Juzune is missing. Speaking of this, Minato didn't care about blushing, and his complexion sank. I came here after I discovered Kushina's cry for help. I just killed a few Union ninjas, and Kushina was kidnapped by them. Tisk. Wu smacked his lips. This kid came to save the beauty alone. Is this one of the classic scenes? But Minato, this matter is more complicated than you imagined. Kushina, you should know what's special about you, right? Enlightenment's gaze turned to Kushina, whose breathing had gradually calmed down. The latter was slightly taken aback, and raised his head. Mito Mongo and Kushina naturally knew each other. Her new captain and her new best friend, Mikoto Uchiha, was the captain of her previous team. Currently the youngest jonin in the village, the owner of Bingdun Sweji Boundary, the direct disciple of Orochimaru, one of the three ninjas, is said to be a very powerful researcher. And his sudden appearance just now was the Flying Thunder God technique that Minato had mentioned to him before, which was as difficult as S rank. Senior Wu. Although Kushina and Satoru haven't talked, but as someone trusted by Mikoto and Minato, she also has a good impression, even though he just laughed at her. But that's just a coincidence. How could such a thing as blood red pepper dare not admit it? After straightening it out, the blush on Kushina's face faded, and he remembered the question he asked just now. Senior Wu, my chakra is very special. Mito-sama once said that it is the characteristic of our Uzumaki clan. Senior Wu is probably one of the people who admired her red hair. What did he just say? Are men handsome and women beautiful? Oops, I'm so sorry. Satoru looked at Kushina's little face blushing again speechlessly, so he shrugged and turned to Minato, who was a little confused. That's right, Kushina was targeted because of her special chakra. Minato, do you still remember our previous mission? The previous mission? Could it be? Minato was stunned, and quickly recalled his mission with Satoru. Union Ninja, Union Village, Tailed Beast Weapon, Ren's Huli. Could it be? Well, don't say it. When the time comes, you will know. Let's go back now. This matter must be reported to the third Hokage as soon as possible. Yes. Minato obviously guessed what Satoru wanted to express, only Kushina was still at a loss. What? Go back and talk about it, let's go. The teleportation light flashed, and Satoru disappeared in place with Minato and Kushina. Back in the village, after the third Hokage Hirozuru Sarutobi got the news, he held a high-level meeting overnight. Uzumaki Kushina was also sent to the current Nine Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Mito. The matter had already happened, and there was no point in hiding it from her anymore. It was the first time that she knew her own destiny with the senior in the clan. Uzumaki Kushina's identity is a candidate for Jinzuriki of Konoha Hidden Village. Namikaze Minato, who made a great contribution in protecting Kushina, was also cut by Sarutobi Hiroshi of the third Hokage, and personally confirmed this matter. The candidate for Jinjuriki was kidnapped, and the high-level officials were furious. Hirozuru Sarutobi decided to change the previous practice of stalking Kushina Uzumaki in order to hide the identity of the candidate for Jinjuriki. Uzumaki Kushina's identity has been investigated by Union Village, and they missed it again. After that, this is almost an open secret. Kusina learned that her purpose of coming to Konoha was to succeed the aged Uzumaki Mito from beginning to end, and after becoming Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, she almost collapsed. Kusina, who had just been rescued from the negative emotions of red hair, outsiders, etc., almost lost hope in her life again. However, Uzumaki Mito healed her trauma with her personal experience. We were brought here as vessels for tailed beasts, but before that, find love to fill it. In this way, even if you want to live as Jinchuriki of Kiwabai, you will be able to get happiness. Uzumaki Mito's enlightenment made Kusina re-examine the blonde boy who saved her. Namikaze Minato. And the matter of Kusina and Namikaze Minato cannot be hidden from the eyes of the third Hokage Hirozuru Sarutobi. Wu, you are the captain of Namikaze Minato, do you think he has the strength to deal with special situations? At the high-level meeting, the three generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Hokage Assistant Chimura Danzo, high-level consultants Mito Kadoyan and Tanjiko Haru all attended. Satoru, as Jonin who reported the incident, and Namikaze Minato's superior, also attended the meeting. This was the first time Satoru saw Nabuang Danzo on a formal occasion. Now he hasn't made himself half a bandage man. Not long ago, Satoru was a little afraid of Danzo, but now. He. Enlightenment ignored Danzo's scrutiny and looked at him, at least on the surface, he was still his father's colleague. Minato should be able to learn the Flying Thunder God technique soon. With this, I believe he is the best candidate to protect Jinchuriki. Satoru nodded, affirming Namikaze Minato's strength. At the same time, the relationship between the two of them is, not bad, very good. The boy Minato is good at coaxing girls. The complexions of the four high-ranking officials became strange, even Danzo looked strange. So I don't think that Minato should take this matter as just a task. So that's how it is, Hirozuru Sarutobi coughed lightly, as if recalling the first generation of Hokage Senju Hashirama, with some emotion. The children nowadays are really precocious. That Namikaze Minato is probably Jireya's disciple. Danzo opened his mouth, and he snorted softly. Even Jireya has no right to know such an important matter as Jinchuriki. Minato Namikaze, he's just a mere Chunin, not qualified at all. This matter should be handed over to my roots. Well, Minato's strength can now be compared with that of ordinary Jounin, not to mention after learning how to fly Thunder God. Besides, isn't the identity of Chunin even more confusing? Satoru interrupted Danzo, making him look ugly. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 154. Chapter 154 Renzulai's Guard. Presumptuous. Danzo gave a cold drink, and looked at Mitomonyan, where the old god was present. Yan, you should teach Wu about etiquette. I think what Wu said is very reasonable. The Flying Thunder God art determines that Minato has this qualification. Even if I want to teach Wu now, I can't catch him. Mito Minyan laughed lightly, he understood that one of the consequences of the decentralization of power is what it is like now. All kinds of wrangling games and compromises. Mitomonyan and Zwanjiko Haru are only responsible for the village. If what enlightenment says makes sense, then enlightenment is right. Danzo's identity, and Wu's identity, in Yan's case, he is not unreasonably biased towards his son, which is already fair and strict. If Wu is making trouble for no reason, Yan will naturally apologize to Danzo. Although what Danzang does is for the village, all resources cannot be in the hands of his root leader. Especially a deadly weapon like Renzuriki. Danzo, Kusina Uzumaki is not yet a Jinchuriki, but just a candidate for Jinchuriki. The current Jinchuriki is Mito-sama. Mitomonyan's unhurried speech made Danzo's pupils shrink. Let's leave this matter to Rijan. Seconded. The simple two words of Zwanzu Xiaochun made Danzo fall silent. After all, Rijan and the two of them are from the same lineage. Forget it, let's put aside the matter of Renzhuli for now. After all, what we need to do now is to stabilize, before Biliahu's research results come out. It's not appropriate to create extra problems. Seeing Danzo go silent, Hirozuru Sarutobi curled up a satisfied smile. Namikaze Minato has already learned about Jinchuriki and Tailed Beast because of Envy's mission, and as Jireya's disciple, he also inherited the will of fire, so he should be able to handle this mission. Originally, Satoru, Nakoki, and Sakumo are the most suitable ones, especially Nakoki, whose wooden escape can restrain the Tailed Beast chakra, but just like Mito-sama, we have to consider Kushina's own wishes. Since Minato and Kushina have a good relationship, it should be able to calm her emotions to a large extent. You know, it is very, very important that Jinchuriki's emotions are stable. Danzo had to admit that Sarutobi Hiruzen was very correct on this point. If the mood is unstable, Jinzuriki may turn into a tailed beast and go berserk at any time, then it will be a disaster. Humph, it's not because I didn't hand over the candidate of Renzhuli to me at the beginning. If she was the root person from the beginning, there would be no such constraints at all. Seeing that Danzo didn't say anything more, Hirozuru Sarutobi stroked his beard and formally issued the order. Then, that's the decision, Wu, assist Namikaze Minato as soon as possible, and practice the technique of Flying Thunder God. Before that, Kushina was at Mito-sama's place, learning the Uzumaki clan sealing technique. Xiao-chun, just work hard and spend more time with them. After Minato's strength reaches the standard, he will serve as Uzumaki Kushina's guard. Yes. Hirozuru Sarutobi quickly made arrangements. Wu nodded and disappeared in place. Flying Thunder God, it's really convenient. Hirozuru Sarutobi's sour tone made Mitaman Yan and Zwanju Koharu both smile. Danzo twitched and snorted coldly. Rijan, since you have already made a decision, what are you leaving us here for? Danzo, that's the thing. Danzo raised his eyebrows, and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a dignified expression. Why, are you finally willing to face up to the evil of the Uchiha clan? Just after the war, the Uchiha clan added a few more pairs of Sharingan, which once made Danzo very angry. Rijan, I told you a long time ago, you will regret it. Danzo knocked on the table, with deep disgust in his eyes. The strength of the Uchiha clan has become stronger again. They are simply unreasonable. Even if you only let those few people with poor aptitude go to the battlefield, what will happen? Uchiha, they are all lunatics. The more crazy you are, the stronger your Sharingan is. And with Sharingan, no matter how poor their aptitude is, they will surpass ordinary ninjas. The current Uchiha, even if there is no strongman at the kaleidoscope Sharingan level, the strength has already surpassed the Hyuga family known as the Konoha #1 family. And the pair of brothers that you have placed high hopes on, Hinata Hizuru and Hyuga Nisaya, are still too young to compare with Uchiha Fugaku in terms of strength, prestige and influence. And, do you think they are really so willing to contribute everything to the village? If they are really willing to use families like Yamanaka, Nara and Akimichi for you? Danzo smiled coldly, staring at Hirozuru Sarutobi's dull face with some pleasure. If you can conquer them, the Hyuga clan alone can involve more than half of Uchiha's energy. Why should we? Enough Danzo. The one who couldn't bear to listen was Swan Xiaochun. She slapped the table heavily. Danzo, Hiruzen's discussion with us is to ask for our opinions, not to listen to your cynicism. Your proposal is not realistic at all. Danzo, the strength of the Uchiha clan has not changed fundamentally. You are too sensitive. It's just a few ordinary Sharingan eyes. We, Konoha, can tolerate it? Mitamonyan frowned. From his son Wu, his prejudice against the Uchiha family has been eliminated a lot. At least there are still Uchiha people like Mikoto Uchiha. The thought of the mirror has not disappeared in Uchiha. At least, their new acting patriarch, Uchiha Fugaku, still needs to observe carefully. That's right, What they were talking about was the recent big changes of the Uchiha clan. The old patriarch of the Uchiha clan, after the war, finally announced his resignation as the captain of the police force, and was represented by Uchiha Fugaku. In the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fuyu is the acting patriarch, and the old patriarch will slowly transfer power to him within a period of time. Due to the autonomy of the Konoha family, the senior management of the village has no right to intervene in the affairs of the Uchiha clan. However, although the police force is exclusive to the Uchiha clan, it is actually an official institution of Konoha Hidden Village and is under the jurisdiction of the village's senior management. However, the second generation of Naruto Senshou Higashi ordered that the police force, including the captain, be all served by members of the Uchiha clan, which is equivalent to autonomy. Therefore, the resignation of the old captain and the acting of the deputy captain are completely in line with the handover procedure. When the official report came up, as Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to agree. Danzo insisted on taking this opportunity to separate the head of the Uchiha clan from the captain of the police force, causing chaos within the Uchiha clan. It doesn't work. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen intends to completely tear his skin apart and misinterpret the order of the second Hokage, in the current Uchiha clan, there is no young man who can compete with Fuyu. Hizen, you know that the Uchiha clan itself is divided into two factions, and they don't like each other. This matter obviously only needs an introduction. Danzo looked at the silent Sarutobi Hiruzen coldly. Then I'd like to hear what you can do. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 155. Chapter 155 Changes to Uchiha. Danzo, Kagami's son is married, we should go and congratulate him. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words silenced Danzo. After a long time, he closed his eyes, leaned back on the chair, and said in a cold voice. That trash, I really lost my face. He also played a big role in my despair of Uchiha. Uchiha and I will not be friends, not before, not now, and not in the future. Hiruzuru Sarutobi sighed softly, exhaled smoke, and put the pipe on the table. He was silent for a long time before speaking again, causing Danzo to open his eyes suddenly and his face changed. I plan to let go of the restrictions on the Uchiha clan joining Umbu. Are you crazy, Riza? Danzo stood up abruptly and let out a low growl in disbelief. Are you going to waste all the teacher's efforts? You know better than me what it means to join Umbu. Half of the secrets of the high level will be open to the Uchiha clan. This is simply capitalizing on the enemy. As Hokage, how dare you do this? Why not, why not? Sarutobi's face was calm, Danzo's fury, he had expected, but this is also the result of his deliberation. In the final analysis, the Uchiha clan is also the Uchiha of the village. The more we isolate them, the more the gap between them and the village will be deepened. Even now, among the Uchiha clan, there are still many children who want to become Hokage. Their love for the village is undoubted. They all have the potential to become a bridge to communicate with the village, instead of continuing to be immersed in Uchiha's suffocating resentment, and finally become like their elders. Your indecision will only ruin the teacher's hard work over the years. Danzo stared at Hiruzuru Sarutobi, and then turned to Mitamon N and Koharu. You guys agree too? You should be very clear that Enbi, in the village, is recognized by the people as a very high honor, and it is precisely because of the teacher's policy that Uchiha missed this honor. If the restrictions are released, the Uchiha clan will gradually be recognized and grow stronger. Once they are not controlled, it will cause a huge disaster. Danzo, the teacher's strategy of isolating Uchiha has been implemented for a long time, but you have seen the effect, and it is not very ideal. Mitamonian pushed his glasses. He and Zwanjisuharu were undoubtedly very aware of the hidden dangers of the Uchiha clan. But this hidden danger is almost unsolvable. How do you reason with a potential lunatic? In front of the crazier, more paranoid, and stronger Uchiha people, any good things may be instantly reversed due to the erosion of the pupil power of the Sharingan. The long-term isolation is slowly causing the entire Uchiha group to accumulate grievances. This is a huge hidden danger. It's time to change our approach. There are not many places in Umbu, and Uchiha is not going to be invited immediately. From now on, we will focus on observing whether there are trustworthy people in the Uchiha clan. If 1 or 2 Uchihas join Umbu, it can be exchanged for the release of the grievances of the entire group. Isn't it worthwhile? Exactly. Turning to bed, Xiaochun nodded calmly. Whether you look at it from the positive side or the negative side, doing so is worth trying. If nothing can be done, we also have enough ability to reverse the situation at any time. Danzo fell silent, and slowly sat back in the chair. Okay, do as you say. After all, Hirazan, you are Hokage. But if something goes wrong... Danzo's sharp eyes made Hirozaru Sarutobi frown subconsciously. You, Hokage, are fully responsible. Mueyin village soon entered the post-war recuperation stage. Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, is researching powerful technologies for armor strengthening and body strengthening. Even if the body enhancement is a secret and will not be made public, once the armor enhancement is implemented, it will undoubtedly greatly reduce the probability of Konoha ninja attrition. Another 3 ninjutsu, with the support of the 3rd Hokage, worked hard to develop new medical ninjutsu, and set about establishing a complete and more efficient medical ninja system. During this period of time, the Konoha police force, the acting captain and acting patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku, carried out the transfer of power quickly and steadily. Uchiha Fugaku heaved a sigh of relief at the upper level of the village's silence on the actions of the old patriarch, and at the same time, it was also regarded by the senior Uchiha clan as their recognition of Uchiha Fugaku. Therefore, Uchiha Fugaku's power transfer was very smooth and very firm. Therefore, he was able to often find time to fall in love. That's right. Uchiha Fugaku, with his identity, status, strength, and potential, has no shortage of suitors. In particular, although his eyes look a little fierce, in fact, he is very gentle when he is not involved in official business. Even within the police force, he is deeply trusted by his subordinates. However, no one can compete with Mikoto Uchiha. In every way, yes. In terms of origin, Uchiha Mikoto is an authentic Uchiha tribe with powerful talents. In terms of strength, Uchiha Mikoto has already opened the Sanguya Sharingan. Among the Uchiha clan who do not lack Jonin, they are only short of the title of Jonin. It will be a matter of time. In terms of temperament, Uchiha Mikoto is not a lady, she is an elite ninja who has experienced a tragic war. She is already 16 years old, and her heroic appearance can crush other competitors. In terms of character, she is an extremely rare and gentle character in the Uchiha clan, and anyone can see that she is a good match. On connections. Under the tutelage of Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, and even the authentic Hokage lineage, his teammates are all well-known young geniuses, and there are even 2 Konoha's only blood successors. Extended further. Mikoto's connections outside the clan are much broader and more important than his Uchiha Fugaku's. What's more, Mikoto's first teacher can be said to be Uchiha Fugaku, and the relationship between the 2 has long fallen into the eyes of many people in the Uchiha clan. And, there was a fellow who had warned him openly in front of his tribe. Therefore, when Uchiha Fugaku's career was about to reach a new peak, he finally officially admitted his attitude towards Uchiha Mikoto. Whether in terms of personal feelings or political factors, Uchiha Mikoto has a bargaining chip to crush. Although she herself doesn't quite understand the barriers inside, there is no doubt that the upper echelons of the Uchiha clan can see it very clearly. Therefore, it is logical that Uchiha Fugaku's love affair has won the support of the tribe. But when Uchiha Fugaku learned from Mikoto that her new best friend, Uzumaki Kushina, recently moved to Uzumaki Mito-sama to live and study. He had to fall into deep thought. Konoha's son didn't even know about it. Uchiha Fugaku knew about Jinchuriki and Tailed Beast. Because the old patriarch abdicated, the day he became the acting patriarch, he learned the top secret of the Uchiha clan for the first time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 156. Chapter 156 The Progress of Training Orochimaru. Nanga Shrine, the secret gathering place of the Uchiha clan. In the underground secret room, there is a secret room known only to the head of the Uchiha clan. Among them, since before the Warring States period, the top secret of the Uchiha clan has been treasured and treasured. It is said to be written by the ninja ancestor sage of the Six Paths himself, a mysterious stone tablet. Uchiha Fugaku, who owns the Sanguya Sharingan, can peek into some of the above content with his pupil power. The existence, function, and opening conditions of Kaleidoscope Sharingan. And after you have the Kaleidoscope Sharingan, you can see the content behind. The existence of Tailed Beast is not a secret to Fuyu, and to the Uchiha clan, Uzumaki Mito's identity is even more not a secret. Konoha is currently Nine Tails Jinchuriki. And the Kaleidoscope Sharingan, its pupil power is strong enough to use the Sharingan illusion to directly control the Tailed Beast that is out of Jinchuriki. Reminiscent of the fact that Uchiha Mikoto's previous team, except for her, was invited to join Umbu. Uchiha Fugaku finally understood why the village's senior management was always extremely afraid of the Uchiha clan. The existence of the Kaleidoscope Sharingan and the conditions for opening the eyes are one of the root causes. But Fuyu had nothing to do. No one in the clan has such cursed eyes. He can only try his best to guide and restrain the extreme behavior of the tribesmen. Maybe he has never really experienced it, so he can't understand that kind of feeling strong enough to distort personality. Perfect, it's an amazingly beautiful technique, I can't help but call it art. In the center of Satoru and Orochimaru's laboratory, there is a set of special ninja combat uniforms. The ninjas of Konoha will wear various combat uniforms. During the war, in order to cope with the dangerous battlefield environment, ninjas wore gray armor combat uniforms, with shoulder armor, chest armor, and arm guards, which can basically deal with most situations. But this kind of armor, the improvement of protection, comes at the cost of reduced mobility. Generally, only elite jonin who charge in the front line and face powerful enemies, or ninjas who are better at close combat will wear it. Ordinary ninjas will wear it. Affects actions to a certain extent. Ordinary ninjas and special ninjas who are good at long-range attacks will basically wear Konoha's iconic combat uniform, an army green vest with a red swirl mark on the back. This green vest is also the protection that ninjas wear most often when performing tasks on weekdays. It is light, durable, and has multiple storage bags, which can well store small items needed for tasks. Of course, the green vest is still a status symbol to a certain extent, and only ninjas above Chunin are eligible to wear it. As for the various special departments in the village, they have more uniforms. But the common problem with these uniforms is that they have low protection. And now, through the efforts of Satoru and Orochimaru, a brand new enchanted combat uniform was born. Although it still looks like a green vest, this green vest exudes a faint purple radiance. In fact, the defensive strength of this vest has been greatly improved. The defense strength has even surpassed that of metal armor. Orochimaru couldn't help admiring. Wearing this kind of armor without affecting the action can undoubtedly greatly increase the survival chance of the ninjas. It's just that the efficiency of manufacturing this kind of combat uniform is really too low. In this way, the project requested by Sarutobi Sensei is considered a success, and a large amount of data has also been collected. Orochimaru doesn't care how efficient the combat uniform is, it's just not proficient enough. The most important thing is that through the process of creating the combat uniform, the two of them successfully derived the advanced magic. This is just to strengthen ordinary materials, and it is far from actually building the armor of the structure. Wu shook his head. Originally he didn't think these things could be researched so quickly. However, Orochimaru has basically completed the design of the mechanical part, which surprised him. He always thought that Orochimaru, who is specialized in biotechnology, asked him to study mechanical engineering to let him rest for a while. I'll talk about that later. It's nothing more than a matter of strength and precision. Now, I'm sure I can strengthen my own body. Orochimaru licked his lips, his vertical pupils shrank slightly, and he was already excited. It's perfect, I can't wait to see the surprised expression on that old white snake woman. Ha ha ha. The old white snake. As a disciple of Orochimaru, Wu certainly knew that what he was talking about was one of the three great immortal lands, the owner of Ryoji Cave, White Snake Immortal. He has also seen Orochimaru's contract psychic beast, 10,000 snakes, a few times. One snake has a bad temper and a bad temper. As he grows older, it gradually becomes more obvious. Recently, he has started to eat people to work. But the last time Wu followed Orochimaru to study the material of the structure in order to get his scales, he yelled in front of Wu, and Wu directly frozen it and then baked it, almost cooked, so he restrained himself a lot. He dared to show his teeth to Orochimaru, but in front of Wu, he behaved like a grandson. Wu felt that his notoriety had probably spread to Longdi Cave by now. But anyway, he doesn't want to contract the snake in Longdedong. Wu doesn't care at all. In the past, although Orochimaru had contracted 10,000 snakes, he didn't even know where Ryokai Cave was. However, after Satoru suggested, or threatened one snake to reverse summon Orochimaru, he had successfully met Immortal White Snake. With the guarantee of the teleportation technique, one snake couldn't do anything secretly if he wanted to, so he could only obey obediently. But Orochimaru has long known that his physical strength and chakra volume are not enough, so he has been unwilling to take the risk of being swallowed by the White Snake Immortal to learn fairy arts. But now, Orochimaru, who has strengthened his body, rekindled his confidence. Jiraiya and Tsunade's progress made Orochimaru decide to challenge things that he didn't dare to do before. Enlightenment, after strengthening, I will leave, during my absence. Orochimaru glanced at the enchanted combat uniform on the table, and in Wu Hei's face, said with some pleasure. The making of the enchanted combat uniform is up to you. Santobi-sensei probably won't be satisfied with this one. I hope that when I come back, your energy core will be ready. I'm already looking forward to the day when the structure will appear. Tisk, Ashimaru-sensei, can you build a structure with me before leaving? Satoru also tried to keep this good coolie who is hard to find in the whole ninja world, but Orochimaru flicked his hair, turned around and left. When I learn fairy art, my lifespan will be greatly enhanced. The White Snake old woman even lived for more than 1,000 years. For me who aims to learn all ninjutsu, how important this is, you should understand. That's a deal. Satoru scratched his head regretfully, watching Orochimaru's figure disappear at the door. But he rubbed his chin and thought for a moment, then he showed another smirk. If Orochimaru learns the art of immortality, I'm afraid that Zilla will become the tail of the crane again. Since this is the case, let's help him a little bit. Sunin, Tsunade is more reflected in the power of medical ninjutsu. Now that he has researched the jutsu of creation and regeneration, the next step is probably the Hakugo surgery. Ashimaru seems to have lost interest in Mutun now, and the research on the cells between the columns is only focused on the unusually huge vitality. In this way, the worry of blackening can be basically avoided, but there is still someone who can suppress him on the bright side. Tisk, think about it, it's really a great achievement to train Uncle Snake into a scholar-type tool man. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 157. Chapter 157. Chapter 157 Improved version of Flying Thunder God Technique. I haven't seen you for a long time, my friend. I heard that you are doing some special research. I hope your research goes well. With your ability, you should be able to receive a lot of attention in the route. This may be a good thing, but you still have to be vigilant at all times, and protecting yourself is the first thing to do. I recently conducted some interesting research with my disciples, which made me more confident about something. However, even so, there will still be a great risk, and maybe I won't be able to come back here. However, there is no risk in the things in this world. In order to be stronger, to become perfect, I believe that you can understand me. My disciple, although he is also my fellow traveler, he still can't let go of many things. I seem to be influenced by him, and there have been some changes that I can't explain clearly. I hope this trip can make me understand these changes. I know what you have been worrying about all this time. Maybe my recent research can help you. Here are some of my research experiences. I believe that for researchers like you, a little hint is enough. Then goodbye, I look forward to your early success. Orochimaru. In the secret research room at Genview, Baileahu looked at the letter in his hand expressionlessly. These things that Orochimaru mentioned, it seems that he has successfully developed the technology of body strengthening. The risk is high, may not come back. What did he do? Is this an account of the funeral in advance? This guy is still so arrogant. What a little hint is enough. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha author, Ziujian. Chapter 158. Chapter 158. The 3-year period is approaching. The place where Satoru appeared was a wooden house in the Land of Rain. It was the place where Naruto built it, and Jiraiya brought Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan to live. There was no one in the house, but the sound of fighting came from outside. Are you still practicing? When Wu walked out of the house, it was still raining outside, and a thin layer of ice appeared above Wu's head, blocking the pouring rain like an umbrella. Yo, the fight was quite intense. Outside the house is a large lake. In the Land of Rain, there are many such lakes, and there is even a huge lake with bottomless bottom called Inner Sea. It is said that it is really connected to the sea, and the seemingly endless water vapor in the Kingdom of Rain also comes from there. On the lake, the white-haired Zilla was also dodging rapidly under the siege of the 3 teenagers, launching counterattacks from time to time. Of course, Satoru could tell that this was Jiraiya's shadow clone. Ah, you're here, boy Wu, how is the village? Jiraiya's real body walked over from the side, and Satoru, whom he hadn't seen for a long time, appeared, which surprised him a little. Ah, that's good. After the war ended, the 3rd Hokage-sama gave Sagakure and Ogaku a hard blow. Even Onoki could only hold his nose and say a few soft words symbolically. Sarutobi shrugged his shoulders. Hiruzen Sarutobi is indeed a seasoned politician. Konoha won a complete victory in this war. As the biggest losers, Saken and Ogashi will naturally have to pay the price. I heard that the Chamber of Commerce of the Kingdom of Wind even jointly signed a letter, questioning the insiders of the civil war in Hidden Sand Village and laymen outside the war, threatening to reduce the military expenditure of Hidden Sand Village, which is really appalling. However, many unexpected things happened. Satoru told Jiraiya what happened to Tsunade and Orochimaru. Kato's death, Tsunade's efforts, and Orochimaru's determination shocked him greatly. I didn't expect so many things to happen when I was away. Gillette also sighed, and glanced at the 3 disciples who were fighting with his shadow clone. They are all very good, maybe, in the future they can make some achievements. Are you still expecting a savior? Enlightenment watched Yahiko manipulating the ice spear and fireball, Nagato performing 5 kinds of 5-element escapism, and Konan's ever-changing paper ninja tools. You don't care enough about the other 2 disciples. Hee, I'm begging you, I believe you. Jiraiya also scratched his head in embarrassment. He felt that Akimishimaru was fine, but without his guidance, it was really difficult for Namikaze Minato to further improve his strength. I won't talk about Yoshimaru. He has already practiced the family secrets very well. I have asked Dingzo to take care of him. The flying thunder god Konoha, who realized the Minato, the strangely shaped Konoha, made Jiraiya's eyes shine. Oh, what a cool shape, what a flamboyant character. Well, this is Minato's customized version of Konoha, and the word on it is Flying Thunder God's spell. Woozilla looked at Zilla with a blank expression, and his mouth was wide open, his eyes almost popped out. Flying Thunder God. Minato. Yes, I taught when you go back, I don't know when it will be. Minato has joined NB just like me. As my team member, the stronger Minato is, the better. Jiraiya was silent for a moment, then bowed to Wui. Wu, thank you very much. I am incompetent as a master. You exchanged your own merits for the precious ninjutsu of Fei Lei Shen, and now you teach it to Minato like this. We, both master and apprentice, owe you favors. Well, don't be so polite. Satoru dodged Jiraiya's gift and thought for a while. Now Minato calls me senior brother, and it's not in vain to teach him, but I can tell you, Mr. Jiraiya, that Minato guy is very good at dating. Aha! Jiraiya's bewildered look made Wu laugh for a while, and told him what happened. I just skipped the section about Tailed Beast and Renzuriki. The current Jiraiya does not have the authority to know the information of Konoha's next successor Jinchuriki. Satoru only said that Kushina was in danger, and from Jiraiya's point of view, Kushina's Uzumaki clan's identity is at best the orphan of Uzumaki. Because of Uzumaki Mito, and Konoha's friendly relationship with Uzumaki, they just came here to defect. To put it simply, Minato is currently in a relationship with his female classmate, just like Jiraiya has always expected. Thinking of Tsunade, Jiraiya's mood is inexplicable and somewhat complicated. The disciple is more competitive than himself, and he met a female classmate when he was only in his teens, and he is still such a handsome hero saving the beauty model. Although Jiraiya was very sorry for Kato's death, it also meant that the rival in love who had weighed him down had disappeared. He had another chance. Well, it's a pity that Tsunade probably won't give me a chance to be a hero to save the beauty. Jiraiya's thinking has quickly gone astray. Teacher Jiraiya. Brother Wu. Enlightenment was thinking of a deep freeze to clear Jiraiya's mind, when the voices of the three children came, and Jiraiya finally woke up from his romantic delusions with a perverted smile. Ahem. Jiraiya pretended to be serious and coughed. The shadow avatar had run out of chakra and had disappeared. The three children ran over panting and found that Satoru was here, so they were naturally overjoyed. Yo, you three, how are you doing recently? Wu greeted the three children with a smile. We've gotten a lot stronger. Yahiko jumped over with a bluff, and three tiny ice crystals surrounded him, making Wu's eyes brighten. Oh! Yahiko, are you ready to use the ice shield? Yes, senior brother Wu, I'll follow what you said, usually practice in a state of energy saving, and then use full defense when fighting. Yahiko nodded excitedly, turned around and pulled Nagato over. Brother Wu, Nagato is so powerful, he has already practiced 6 kinds of chakras nature changes. Oh! Is it 5 elements done and yang done? Satoru looked at Nagato, who saluted him, smiled and waved. Nagato, have you learned how to use the eyes of reincarnation? Not yet, but after learning the 6 types of nature changes, there are already some eyebrows, and further research is needed. Nagato scratched his head in distress. Teacher Jiraiya said that no one knows how to use the reincarnation eye, and I can only rely on myself. Glancing at Jiraiya with a calm face, Wu nodded, and then looked at Zionin. Yang Dun has cultivated to this level, and he is already considered a very distinctive genius. Zionin, Are you interested in learning medical ninjutsu? Konoha is building a new medical system now, and I have some basic medical ninjutsu scrolls here. May I? Konan was startled, and then delighted. She had seen Tsunade's medical ninjutsu before, and she was naturally looking forward to being able to rescue injured people. However, the inheritance of medical ninjutsu is much rarer than that of ordinary ninjutsu, and it is impossible to teach it. Of course, medical ninjutsu requires fine chakra control and yang escape chakra. If you meet the requirements for both, it should be fine. Enlightenment took out 2 scrolls and a book and handed them to Xiaonan, who was overjoyed. This is the most basic medical ninjutsu, palm senjutsu, and B-level, the subtle trouble extraction technique for detoxification and organ transplantation, as well as the latest medical ninja basic manual written by Tsunade-sama. Thank you, Brother Wu. Oh. Has Tsunade done this much already? Ji Lai also smiled. It's been 3 years, and I haven't been idle during this time. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 159. Chapter 159 Half-Baked Immortal Toad. Satoru looked indifferently at Jiraiya and the 3 little guys in front of him. That look seemed to be looking at 4 mentally handicapped patients. Hey, Wu, what kind of look is that in your eyes? Ji Lai also wore a green big-headed frog suit like a sand sculpture, and uttered nonsense to Wuda. This is my treasured version of the precious training uniform. This is to practice the endurance that is not shaken by anything like a frog. Oh, I know, that guy Orochimaru will look indifferent all day long and has no sense of humor at all, so Wu, you are delayed by him. Happy practice is the most efficient. I have another set, and I give it to you. Don't want. Satoru exuded an icy chill all over his body, and looked away indifferently at Jiraiya. I don't want to look like an idiot. Then he looked at the 3 children with a bit of heartache, especially Xiaonan. How good the clothes were. Now being punished like this by Zilla, if the big shots of the Xiaotian regiment find out, I am afraid that his death will be worse than the original way of death. Laugh to death. Okay, that's all for the practice uniform. I'm here this time, besides looking at the 3 little guys, I'm here to find you, Teacher Jiraiya. Controlling the dining table and flying over, Jiraiya and the 3 children surrounded him with glowing eyes, causing Satoru to twitch the corners of his mouth. On the dining table, the seafood hot pot that swept the entire Wuyan village was impressive, but it only appeared for 3 days, and it has even been listed as a legend. The mysterious boss of the Blue Hermit, Kaguya, is already a legend. The rich fragrance almost overwhelmed the well-informed Zilla, let alone the 3 children. Wow, ha ha ha. Wu, you are amazing. Although there is still no wine, Zilla has also stayed in the land of rain for so long. After a few mouthfuls of hot pot, he felt that the pungent heat wave violently blasted out a lot of moisture accumulated in his body. Go back and open a shop. Hey. What about the endurance that you promised to be like a frog without being shaken by anything? After eating and drinking enough, it was time to go to bed. This meal lasted for 5 hours. Urging the 3 children to go to bed, Zilla also came to Wu with a big belly and a toothpick in his mouth. So, what's the matter, just looking for me? Does the village want me to go back? No, it's just that Mr. Orochimaru went to Ryoji Cave to learn the art of immortality. I don't know what you think, Mr. Jiraiya? Enlightenment looked at Zilla suddenly and instantly became sad. That Orochimaru guy, I managed to get ahead of him, and he's almost catching up to me. After learning that Orochimaru has the confidence to learn fairy arts, he knows the origin of Orochimaru very well and naturally understands that Orochimaru will not do things that are not sure. He must have found a way to increase his physical strength and chakra reserves. This has always been the shortboard of Orochimaru. However, Fairy art is not so easy to learn. This immortal has been learning for several years after meeting the physical conditions. No matter how talented Orochimaru is, Jiraiya, as the only person in Konoha who has mastered the celestial arts, naturally knows how difficult it is to learn. In the past few years, I will continue to improve. Well, that's right, but Mr. Jiraiya, have you already called yourself a fairy? Wu stroked his chin. Jiraiya was now in high spirits, full of confidence, and full of desire to express himself. It seemed as if he was about to grab Wu's neck and introduce him to the magic of immortality. Of course. Let me tell you, fairy art is. All right, teacher Jiraiya, how about this? Satoru restrained Jiraiya's desire to show off, and made a suggestion that changed his expression. How about we play a game? Let me see it, the magic of immortality. You sure? Jiraiya's face turned serious, although he already knew that Wu is now a Jonin, but the him who has successfully mastered the celestial arts is not the same concept as the him when he dealt with Hanzo 3 years ago. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, and illusion at the level of Xianshu are not so strong. I can't hold back now. It's okay, in terms of defense, I haven't been afraid of anyone yet. Satoru's words reminded Jiraiya of his weird refrigerator defense. Oh well. Jiraiya's eyes also lit up. Speaking of which, this battle is not a guiding battle at all. I ignored it. You are much stronger now than before. Let's not talk about whether other methods have been enhanced. Just like Fanfiction, Wu has the qualifications to be right with the current Jiraiya. The scope of this battle may be relatively large. Yahiko and the others are not suitable for onlookers. Let's go far away while they are asleep. Jiraiya's big frog shook his head, stood up with some difficulty, and wanted to go back and change his clothes. Come on, Mr. Jiraiya, believe it or not, if you are so full of food, you will spit it out after 2 hits? Tomorrow morning. Early the next morning, Yahiko and the others were left to practice alone, and Wu took Zilla and teleported to an open area. Wow! The Flying Thunder God art is really easy to use. Zilla also sighed in admiration, with envy and hatred on his face. Unfortunately, I can't understand it at all. Well, compared with Jiraiya Sensei's Senjutsu, what will it be? Hearing what Wu said, Zilla became even more curious. Wu, do you want to learn Senjutsu? Although your chakra level, well, it probably exceeds the standard, but don't you go to Ryoji Cave with Orochimaru? I just want to refer to the fairy arts, toads, snakes, and even slugs. Although the fairy arts of the 3 major fairy lands have different characteristics, the principles should be the same. An ice gun gradually condensed in Wu's hand, and a huge ice spike exuding a chill was on top of his head. How should I put it? I feel that the technique that I have personally analyzed and perfected is the most suitable for me. After all, I am also a researcher. Looking at Jiraiya's expression of wanting to vomit, Wu narrowed his eyes slightly. Mr. Jiraiya, don't you need some preparation time? Ji Lai was taken aback for a moment, then laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Are you really a researcher? It seems that you don't just know the name and function of immortal arts. That's good, since it's for the sake of seeing immortal arts. Jiraiya stroked the red mark on his face with both hands, forming another pattern, while closing his eyes tightly and clasping his hands together. Satoru keenly felt that a large barrier was rapidly expanding around Jiraiya. Perception enchantment? Before entering the fairy mode, this ability to enhance perception can greatly avoid attacks. Now he should be collecting natural energy to refine fairy chakra. Sure enough, this feeling is closer to arcane power than chakra. Satoru quietly perceives the process of Jiraiya refining the sage chakra, and the characteristics of refining sage chakra that must be quiet and too slow are now what Satoru needs. After a long time, Gillette also opened his eyes, a little embarrassed. I need one more step to enter the fairy mode. Wait a minute. Woo. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 160. Chapter 160 The Power of Immortal Art. Therefore, it is not unreasonable that Yuan often complains about himself and is also a crane tail. On the original timeline, Jiraiya had never been able to enter the immortal mode alone until his death, and even if he channeled the two-toed immortals of Miyamu Mountain, his immortal mode was not complete. And look at Namikaze Minato, who said that he is not good at fairy arts and then entered the perfect fairy mode in seconds. He. So, Jiraiya himself was also very embarrassed. He refined a lot of fairy chakra, and then channeled the two-toed sages. Hey! Jiraiya, I'm packing the tableware. Purple-haired Shima Immortal's loud voice sounded, and she seemed very dissatisfied with Jiraiya interrupting her from doing housework. Are you always so ignorant of timing? Well, son, mother, Xiao Zile must have summoned us to practice immortal arts. I'm too happy for him to work so hard. Don't be so harsh. The white-haired Fukazaku Sento coughed lightly, and began to observe the surrounding situation. Huh? Ice escape? Isn't this your Konoha ninja? Seeing Satoru's conspicuous Konoha forehead protector, Fukazaku-sensei felt a little uncomfortable. Little Jiraiya, are you guys practicing? Ahahaha, this is what I mentioned to the two immortals last time. One of my juniors, Maitaman Satoru, has just become a jonin. This time he wants to experience the immortal art, so I talent. Immortal Fukazaku covered his ears halfway through hearing it, with a sob on his face. Sure enough, Immortal's Haima's loud voice rang out again, with a slap in the face. Little Jiraiya. You summoned us for this reason? Don't underestimate the importance of housewives doing housework, hey. Yes. Jiraiya hurriedly begged for mercy. Shima Immortal was far more deterrent than Fukazaku Immortal to Jiraiya. The feast she made on Mount Miyamu often made life worse than death for Ji-Lai. That, mainly because his teacher Orochimaru went to Ryokai Cave to learn the immortal mode, so. Orochimaru? Ryoji Cave? Immortal Shima is not calm anymore. Those stinky bugs are misleading their children. Has Orochimaru lost his mind? Ah, you can't say that. After all, the snake fairy art is as famous as our frog fairy art in Miyamu Mountain, right? Immortal Fukazaku also changed his indifferent attitude before, and after careful observation, he became enlightened. Maitaman Wu, since the time I contacted Toad a few years ago and said that I felt a similar aura to my ancestors, I really wanted to see you. You two sages, I've known you for a long time. I'm Konoha's Mito Mongo. It may be a bit abrupt to see the sage mode, but I hope the two sages will do it well. Immortal Fukazaku and Immortal Shima looked at Satoru carefully. Now Satoru's control over arcane power is much stronger than when he supported Jiraiya a few years ago. Of course, the arcane power under Wu's control is much stronger in terms of quality and quantity. Therefore, the two-toed immortals soon discovered the difference in understanding. Indeed, it feels similar to my ancestors, but it's not the same. Immortal's Haima nodded, and Zile also widened his eyes in surprise. He knew very well what kind of magical existence Immortal Toad was. Miao Mushin's impression of Wu, even he has never heard of it. Perhaps your understanding of the prophecy is wrong? Thinking of what he said 3 years ago when he told Wu the prophecy of the Eye of Reincarnation and the Great Toad Immortal, Zile also narrowed his eyes slightly. Could it be true what he said? Okay, Zile, since it's Wu boy who wants to experience fairy art, we will naturally cooperate. This is also your cultivation. Immortal Shima patted Jiraiya and called him back when he was distracted. When you are able to enter the fairy mode by yourself, you will be considered to have fully practiced this trick. Now our state of the Trinity, Immortal Art 2 Lives Art, although the immortal mode can be used to the maximum extent, it is not your own power. Yes, Immortal Shima. Jiraiya nodded and explained to Wu with a smile. My immortal mode can only last for 5 minutes, so I need 2 immortals to assist me to keep still and collect immortal chakra to achieve the purpose of continuous fighting. So, don't worry about the duration, let's get started. As soon as the words fell, Jiraiya's body changed rapidly, his pupils became horizontal bars, his nose became bigger, his teeth became sharper, his eyeshadow lines expanded into red patches covering most of his face, and even his hands and feet became thicker. The phenomenon of frog transformation in the incomplete frog fairy art fairy mode. Satoru could feel that Jiraiya's chakra volume and deterrent power had reached a big level at this time. Good. Wu smiled slightly, the top of his head had already condensed into shape, and the huge ice thorns that were getting bigger and bigger shot out instantly. Glacier spikes. Immortal law, 1,000 hair needles. Jiraiya bent down, his white hair instantly became extremely hard, and he blasted towards the huge ice spikes that were coming like a storm, at an extremely fast speed. Boom! The ice spikes and hair needles collided in mid-air, and the physical attacks annihilated each other, resulting in a violent explosion that resounded through the sky. The power is really amazing. Wu gasped in admiration. Glacier Spike is an advanced ice spell, and with such a long preparation, it can blast through even a city wall, but it was blocked by a pile of hair. Come again. Icy blood. Wu's body exuded crystal blue fluorescence, and the surrounding water elements frantically gathered, providing a faster casting speed for his ice spells. Another glacial spike quickly formed on top of Wu's head. He had a huge ice arrow in his left hand and a long crystal ice spear in his right. With a loud shout, the 3 spells blasted at Zilaya at the same time. Deep freeze. Boom. Jiraiya's body had just been frozen, but he broke free with the powerful force added by the immortal mode, and after such a delay, the ice thorns, ice arrows, and ice spears were about to reach him. Senfugomen. Senjin Fukazaku's Wind Escape Senjutsu, Shima Sage's Fire Escape Senjutsu, plus Jiraiya oil containing Senjutsu Chakra, this combination of ninjutsu can be called Jiraiya's strongest attack range and attack power. Boom! With the help of wind and fire, the hot boiling oil blasted overwhelmingly towards the cold ice spikes, ice arrows and ice spears. This move is solid, and the ice may be evaporated in an instant. Tisk, 3 vs 3, the single target magic is still at a disadvantage, then. Frozen Orb. A huge ice ball appeared in front of Wu, spinning wildly. Not only that, but it is also rapidly advancing in the direction of Jiraiya. The ice blades formed by countless sharp ice breaths are crazily cutting everything on the way along with the rotation of the ice orb. With the help of the frozen orb, Wu waved his hands, and a row of ice spears appeared in front of him. The quality is not enough, let's make up the quantity. Swish swish swish. The continuous ice guns combined with the ice orbs clashed with the immortal techniques of Jiraiya and the 2 great immortals, stirring up a thick fog.